Why the mask? Why the new force? What happened to the convention? Was Malema actually coming? What is his economic plan? He says he'll create thousands of entrepreneurs. What does he mean by that? He has very interesting things he says. He keeps an afro hair as well. Nana Kwame Bediako is my guest, known as Cheddar, also known as Freedom Jacob Caesar. Tonight, all three are in the studio tonight. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Happy New Year.
Great to see you.
Great to see you.
Keeping the afro too.
Well, I mean, if I did say if your hair is not falling off, you have to show off, right?
You have to show off. So is Nana Kwame the same as Cheddar? Is it the same as Freedom Jacob Caesar, or they are three different people?
I think they're three different people.
Okay.
And Nana Kwame Bediako is more the corporate guy.
Okay.
You know, who is more interested in investment and development. Cheddar is just the street, a nickname that means money. You know,
in what language?
Oh, it's in the rap industry, cheddar is money.
Okay.
You know, most people think cheddar is cheese, but cheese is cheddar. So
Okay.
that's how it's misunderstood. That's how it's actually interpreted in the rap industry. And also KYEDDAR still represent cheddar as money, as a seashell.
Okay. And then who is Freedom Jacob Caesar?
Freedom Jacob Caesar, that is very enigmatic. You know, it's a character that I created and even rechristened myself to be that person, you know. And it's royal, it's empowerment, you know, it's a character that, you know, has a particular style of presenting themselves, but also, you know, like a leader of a movement, you know, introducing Africa to the world. You know, and I thought that Africa needed that. You know, Africa needed someone from Africa that goes out there to the Western and portray Africa as royalty.
So Nana Kwame is the businessman, Cheddar is the entertainment sort of lifestyle thing.
I wouldn't say entertainment. It's just like the youth. You know, I connect with the youth. Really
with Cheddar. And then Freedom Jacob Caesar is your royal.
Yeah.
Are you from the royal family?
I am not, but I feel like God has ordained me and put the crown on me. So for me, my royal family, it's like my spiritual part, you know. Like,
so God has ordained you to be what?
Oh, to be the Prince of Africa.
The Prince of Africa?
Africa, the continent.
So who is the King of Africa?
Well, that's God, right?
So you are the Prince of Africa?
The Prince.
The whole continent?
I claimed it.
And what's your mandate?
Well, I feel like, you know, when it comes to Freedom Jacob Caesar, they should be able to inspire a lot of youth. You know, people in Africa have always been trying to express themselves in terms of their fashion sense, you know, the freedom of fashion, the freedom of doing many things, but they are restricted. You know, some people are still living with their mother and father and they're 28 years old and they wanted to express themselves, but they couldn't. So that character I built that character so people can be inspired. People will want to be, but I've also realized that some people don't like the character. They feel like, okay, it's too much, or, you know, you get some people who are jealous, but that's normal, you know. But the main idea is to be able to inspire people with that character.
So you're a businessman who wants to liberate Africa. Is that, if I wanted a sentence to describe you, what are you?
Well, for the business side, you cannot use business alone to liberate Africa.
Okay.
You know, you need great sense of leadership.
Okay.
Okay. Business is just people trying to build riches and wealth.
All right.
Okay, but leadership is when you want to build nations.
Okay.
And then add value to a country. You know, development, building nations and developing countries or communities. And that's the sort of leadership that I feel like I also have that skills as well, apart from the business itself.
So what's your leadership track record?
I don't know if it's clearly been demonstrated to the people, but, you know, I started from just giving, which you can see from some of my foundation, like New Africa Foundation. You know, we have managed to merge, you know, the Christians and the Muslims to have a better relationship. You know, we realize that communities have separated us. You know, you go to Nima and it's just Muslims, and then you go to some party and it's just Christians, and it's like we can't merge. So my relationship with Chief Imam, when I went to him, it wasn't about going to give them goods like, okay, I've come to also present something to you, but it was for me to ask him how best you know, we can bring this sort of young people together so we don't separate ourselves. And, you know, he liked the idea, he supported it, you know, and then from then I started also going to the neighborhoods like Nima, Newtown, and all of these people. And I already had friends there and people who knew about me. So, you know, some of the things, some of the leadership skills started from there. Going to neighborhoods and giving them food from, you know, deaf to blind people.
So mainly philanthropy, giving.
Yeah, when you give, you start to get a sense of responsibility. You know, after giving, keep giving. You know, people would automatically assume, for instance, there are people that I've been paying their fees. They automatically call my finance department as if that I'm obliged to do it. You know, they don't ask me, please, can you pay my fees anymore? They just call when the time is up that you have to pay. So then it's up to you to say, okay, I don't want to pay anymore. Or it's up to you to understand that you've taken that responsibility upon yourself. And no matter what you have to do it, you do it. Because sometimes responsibility is also the gateway for us to maintain our wealth and our success.
So if I get you right, your main leadership track record is in your philanthropic work.
It started from there. It started from there. But then you also get to realize that when you're managing your workers, I pay 300 workers every month. Okay?
In which companies?
In maybe 4 of my companies under the group.
What's the name of the group?
Qualis Group.
KWARLEYZ.
Yes, yes.
So you have 300 employees?
Yes, about 300. This is people who are doing construction, people who are in the hotel operations. You know, it's quite a lot of people to deal with, to handle. But of course,
so what are the companies under the Qualis Group?
It's Petronia.
Petronia.
Yeah.
Is that the Petronia City?
Yes.
The thing that came on CNN?
Yes.
Are you building the Petronia City?
Well, I'm still on the basic infrastructure. And when I say basic infrastructure, you're talking about doing the roads, gutters, and all of this. Now, we'll talk about that later. But
I'll come back to that. So Petronia City is one. Which other one is
Wonderworld is a developer.
Okay.
And we develop all the buildings you're seeing, number 1, Qualis, and you have New Africa Construction. So New Africa Construction is the contractors. Now, here's what happened in the beginning when I started my group. It was very difficult for a local Ghanaian to go out there, get funding for some of these things, and then after the contractor to do it and all of that. So what I did was I decided to build a group that I would contract myself. So the developer is Wonderworld. We give the contract to New Africa. And then we build it according to our pace and our time.
So there's Petronia City, Wonderworld, New Africa Construction, and then
there's Belfast, which is city management and property management. And then there is the New Africa Foundation,
which is the CSO side. So which of them raises money?
Well, Wonderworld was the one that had the ability to sell.
So Wonderworld is the one that raises the finance.
The development. So what our specialty is investment and development. So this is a pot that you build that you can actually create an economy of scale and still build an economy around that scale. Okay, so investment is, first of all, maybe you buy a land, for instance, and then the land becomes like a land banking if you have 2 or 3. In 2 years, maybe the land can appreciate maybe 40%. You can sell the land, and then you use the capital to go into construction. So once you sell the land, instead of going to give that money to a contractor outside, you give it to a contractor inside, which means the money is now circulating under the group.
Within the same group?
Yeah.
So who are your principal sources of finance? Do you use debt or equity?
I use more equity, a little debt.
So who are your equity partners?
Well, equity partners has come from mainly our land banking and our property stock. So the development that we do is just like what everybody is doing now. They start the property business and they put it on the market.
Yeah, my question is, like, when you say land banking, like you need money to build a house.
Yeah.
Who's your equity partner? Who's giving you the money? Is it a bank? Is it a rich person somewhere? Is it an investment partner? Is it a fund from...
No. We've had banks. We've had one bank that has lent us money before, which I mentioned the last time, IFC from the World Bank.
So that's debt, not equity, because that's lending you money.
Yes, but then they didn't lend us the money for the whole building. They gave us a part of it.
So do they own parts of the building?
No, because
that's so it was debt?
Yeah, it was debt.
I see. So who are your equity partners?
Equity partners, you mean that the owner, the stake of it?
Yes.
We are.
So you don't share the building with anybody?
No.
So the building is fully yours?
If we have the land, and then we have a bit of capital to develop, and the bank comes in with that loan, the only stake holding that is in there is the bank.
So the original capital is yours?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was thinking maybe somebody would give you some of the money, and then they own a percentage of the building.
It is not easy like that
Okay.
in Africa, and I'm sure you know this by now, that even if we went to the white people's world and we told them that we have such a fantastic idea or business here, that if we build hotels or if we build some agriculture platform, we can turn over a lot of money. They're not going to carry the money and give you. That is outside. When you come inside, you have a lot of banks in Ghana, from student loans to business advancement, whatever that you ask for these banks, they don't have the money for you. And I'm sure we all know this. Okay, we don't have banks supporting us even if we wanted to purchase a car, if we had a job.
So you don't borrow from Ghanaian banks?
I haven't before.
You've never tried?
I tried, but they wouldn't give me.
They wouldn't give you?
No,
But
I remember very well, there was
no
one
Ghanaian
bank. Please, let me just, there was one bank I remember very well. They took me through a process. You know, took my building documents. At that time, I was running Quales. You know, I don't want to mention the name of the bank because it would be too obvious. But I did everything and passed all the boxes they ticked, you know, gave them all the requirements. And when it got to giving me the money, they never gave me the money. And I think it took about maybe 2 years for me to hear that the bank has been dissolved by the...
So it's the IFC that actually gave you money?
Yeah. Yeah. And at that time, it's because I had even a partner with me doing that project, that particular project.
So IFC invested in the... But you've paid back the IFC?
Yes, we have paid back.
When was this?
Oh, I think it's this year.
Wow.
It's this year, and you see, my partner had to come in and support. You know, it's difficult for Africans to benefit from such financial institutions because I don't think they believe in our capacity. And I also don't think that they believe in the governance that builds the economy around the country. So it would be in their interest if they were coming to invest in like a gold mine, and they have to have a multinational company.
So
that
if
can guarantee
Nana Kwame Bediakun with 4 companies under his group, with this very well-known projects, cannot get funding from a Ghanaian bank, what is the hope for a young Ghanaian entrepreneur to get a loan from a bank?
Currently, there's no hope. That's why we're here.
So how do you intend to change that?
There is fear instead of hope. Now, the only thing stronger than fear is hope, and somebody has to give it. Now, how do I intend to change that? From what we've been discussing so far, you should just know that I have a template.
Okay.
I have a template, and that template, I want to give it away for free. I want people to understand that they can start any business from a very small scale and start to build the capital. And when they build capital, they shouldn't build capital for the capital to be consumed by problems that will come along. They should build capital to reimburse the capital as an investment, okay? Through any sort of development. It can just be a simple technological software, you know.
So how did you build the capital?
Well, you have to build your capital. And I think it's a great question that you're asking me. The question is, does the average Ghanaian understand how to build capital? You know, people think that when you have money, you need to find things that will consume the money so you pay for it. That is spending and purchasing. Now, there's a difference in spending and purchasing when you compare these two to investment. Investment takes the money away from you, and you have to nurture, you have to water it. It's just like planting a seed. You know, you have to water the seed till it grows before you can harvest it. It's the same thing with your investment. When you can buy a land, maybe you just need to put a wall around it and fence it and put a nice gate. And then somebody will come in and say, what are you doing? I'm doing a development. What sort of development? I'm going to build 8 houses here. Maybe you don't have 20,000 or 50,000 to even start the project. But someone might have an interest in just the way you've walled the land and put the gate. You know, you're giving them a sense of security and a sense of construction. That person can trust you and give you $50,000 or $100,000 for a building. This could be the beginning of you.
So who gave you your first big break? Because most people who are successful, when you ask them, they'll tell you the story around the first business they did, maybe a friend or family, somebody lent them some money and they turn it around. How did you, because you have a lot of properties, you're seen to be very wealthy. Where did you get your first capital from?
My first capital was from the 2 houses I built on one land. Now, I bought the land. Before I would go into real estate, I rented a nightclub. And then in 3 weeks, people had come from London. This was the beginning of 2002. That's when I was introducing lifestyle in Ghana. At that time, there was nothing like the year of return. I started this in 2002. You can go back in the records and check. The club was called Temptations. And I invited people from Holland, London, and America. And that's because I didn't want to stay in Ghana alone. I had just come from London. And the place that I rented, my capital at that time was 20,000. My main capital that I had made in London from telecommunication and scraps, I had invested in Hawaii. It was £1 million. And the money I brought to Ghana is what I did the club with. But when I did the club, I made $75,000. And that $75,000 is what I used.
Oh, so you brought money from London?
20,000.
$20,000? Pounds.
And that's what I invested in renting the space and doing a nightclub, inviting people, you know.
£20,000?
Yes.
In 2002?
2002.
Well, I thought you were supposed to be...
I came in 2001, but 2002 is when I did the club.
But you're supposed to be in school, because I know you went to Accra, you went to Apam, and then you went to UK. You went to study in the
Yeah, but
UK.
why would I be in school when I came
So
from
you were working in the UK?
I was working for myself.
So the first £20,000 you made, you brought it to Ghana?
It's not the first £20,000 I made. The first money I made in England altogether was $1 million.
How old were you?
I was 21.
You were 21?
Yes.
You made £1 million?
Yes.
In London? Yes. Working for which company?
I was working for myself. My company was GT, Global Telecommunications and Utilities,
Wow.
and I was selling scraps. So it's not
You were
like...
working for yourself?
Yes.
In London?
Yes.
And you made $1 million?
Yes,
I had 21?
Yes, I had my own office in Walthamstow.
Wow.
And I had 2 employees. So I've been responsible for people for a long time.
$1 million?
Yeah, pounds.
£1 million?
Pounds.
In 2001?
Yes.
That's incredible.
Well, people should really follow my track record because, you know, I started investment at a very young age. And what happens when you invest in things, the money goes away, so you feel like you're broke again. It makes you more hungry, you know, to work harder.
But why real estate? Because we know your brother is in petroleum. Why real estate?
I chanced it. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay.
The nightclub,
yeah.
When I did the nightclub and received the $75,000,
yeah.
It was cedis that I was changing into dollars because I learned right from the beginning in Ghana that you need to keep your money in dollars because the cedi was depreciating all the time.
All right.
Okay, so I did that, and then after someone came to buy the club for $150,000.
What was the name of the club?
Oh, it was Matador before, but the club that I opened was called Temptation. So
Temptation.
I used to go,
where is this?
in Osu. That's where Citizen Coffee is today.
Oh, Kofi. Oh, I see.
Okay, so I don't want to mention names, but
yeah.
you know, and so when they bought that from me,
yeah.
and I had the profit of 75,000. I realized that I made 75,000 from the club and 75,000 from selling the building.
Wow.
And I had to decide which one I wanted to do. Whether do I go doing club or do I go trading in buildings? So I checked the many nights of boxes of money. I had to drive home, and the next day I had to go and change it. And this one was just one check. So I went with this. So that's how I got into real estate. Then I went to rent the next building, arrange the same nightclub, and use it to buy it again. Made profit before I entered into building my own properties.
And your brother is in petroleum?
Yeah, he's been in petroleum for a long time.
That's Kweku Bediako.
Kweku,
He's
yeah.
older than you.
Oh, much older.
Much older.
Yeah.
Does he invest in your business?
No. My brother...
Are you business partners?
No. No. I think that, you know, my lifestyle is very different from my brother. He's very modest, very cool in his corner. You know, I'm very vibrant. You know, I'm like, you know...
Did you go to the same schools?
No.
Where did he go to school?
He went to Motown, at Chimoto Secondary School.
1 to upper 6?
No, I think he went to Kwabotre after. You know.
And you went to Accra and Apam?
Yes.
Did you work together in London?
No, my brother never lived in London.
He never lived in London?
No.
So which of you has more money?
Oh, please, I would never want to look at that. But I think my brother is extremely successful. I respect his wealth, and he motivates me, you know.
So that's Chase Petroleum?
Yeah, Chase Petroleum.
Yes,
he motivates me. I feel like, you know, Ghanaians feel like we should be in competition. People should be in competition.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe in competition.
So you are, there's just 2 of you?
Oh, no.
How many are you?
My mother is Kwales. I'm sure you heard her name.
So the building in airport, Kwales, is named after your mother?
Yes.
Now Kwale, is that her name?
Kwale.
Kwale.
Let's call her Kwale. Yeah.
So how many are you?
Oh, my brother, I have other brothers, and I have sisters. You know, I have a big family. I have a big family to at least get me 2% vote in Ghana.
Enough. And are they mostly in Kumasi or Accra?
Oh, no, we mostly in Accra, but I do have some siblings in Kumasi.
There's a question young people want me to ask you.
Sure.
You're a real estate mogul, Wonderworld, Petronia City, New Africa Construction, Belfast City. Housing is very difficult. Rent is tough. And there's no affordable housing for Ghanaians. You say you are the Prince of Africa, and you say you want to help young people, why haven't you invested in affordable housing for young people? If somebody from the university wants a one-bedroom house to live in Kasua, he can't afford your buildings.
Good question. Very good question. So, in our plan for Wonder World, we first of all have a solid development that we want to introduce to universities. It's called graduators. Anyone that graduates from university, we want to be the first people that will give them the loan to even buy an apartment. And we don't want any profit on that. So that is a charitable cause. But let's answer your question about low income or affordable homes. Here's the problem with Ghana. Ghana is developing affordable homes, and they say it's affordable homes, but they're charging people $60,000 to $80,000 first of all. And then this development is not integrated. There is no integration in the development. So let's say you build 1,500 units for people to buy for $60,000, and they manage to get you the $60,000. This person might be working in commercial bank or some entity, or maybe let's say B5 factory, and these buildings could be somewhere in Prapram. And then they have to drive all the way or take a car all the way to Tema to attend this job, which is maybe 22 kilometers, and then 22 kilometers back. So in a day, they spend money to travel 44 kilometers. Okay? Now, they also lose 3 to 4 hours of their day in doing this. Now, within 8 years, they would have spent almost the money they bought the house with. So we having affordable homes without integration doesn't make it work. And if you're going to put integration in affordable home, then you have to create the basic infrastructure. The basic infrastructure of sewage, planning, internet, wiring, electric, all of this costs a lot of money. People think affordable homes is cheap. Like I can just use 5 million to build for people. It's not going to work, man. It's not going to work because without the integration, you need like a factory somewhere there. You need like a mat somewhere here. You need a hospital somewhere there. All of that within a 4-kilometer vicinity. And if you're not able to do that, you don't have...
So you're saying until you put the structures in place, affordable housing cannot work. It's not just the building.
It's not just the building.
So is this something you plan to do?
Of course. But it just doesn't need, a basic capital. So when you go to like England, okay, all of these places like Manchester, Liverpool, it all started with affordable housing, but it kind of had some integration of some kind of factory and things that people were working.
So just to be clear, the things you've said you are doing so far are not affordable housing yet.
No.
But you are saying you intend to do it.
Of course. And I have to do it right. I have to do it with an integration. That's what I'm trying to say to you.
And who's doing the integration?
Integration, you do it yourself as a developer. Now, let me explain it to you. This is very great town planning that we're actually not even doing in Ghana. So, for instance, you're going to Osup, and then the municipals are going to let, let's say people encroach the place, and then you have all of these squatters coming from different places. So you start to lose the value of the place because you need to know that if Osu Road is going to be a rodeo road, if it's going to be full of malls, if it's going to be this, so you can drive the human traffic there. And that turns over. Every day, people are making money, so they cherish the road, they protect it. And then the value of that can create other people to have buildings and apartments around it, so they can just walk to work. They save